So I grew up here in North Carolina, Raleigh area. First picked up video cameras in the mid 90's. Out when my buddies and I were in middle school, we were riding BMX and we were out at the jumps in the woods, and I wanted to start documenting it. My friends were awesome doing tricks, and I was just wanting to start videotaping everything they did. I was really inspired by watching like BMX and skate videos growing up, so that was like a big part of it. So that was in the mid 90's, and then graduated high school in 99, moved to Greensboro in 2000, started film school at UNC Greensboro. And by that time, I had already been working a little bit in the BMX industry. Some of my good friends here locally got sponsored, and their sponsors needed footage of them. So I just started filming, and just filming my friends do tricks and submitting the footage to their sponsors. Their sponsors liked the footage, so they started sending me on the road with the guys, started going to events, started going on road trips, doing documentary films about the guys and for other BMX videos. And then from there, it just kind of spiraled. I worked for a lot of different companies in the BMX industry. Worked for a lot of the bigger brands like Red Bull, Nike, some of those companies that sent me all over the world to make content for BMX videos, which was awesome. And more recently, I've kind of fallen into working with a company called Cinema BMX. They're a BMX parts company based in New York. We have our professional riders. Our team is based mostly in California. And I manage the team guys, and I film all their content for the brand. So I do all the branded content for Cinema BMX and manage their team riders. And then on the side of that, I started a new startup production company last year during COVID called Press Record Media with my partner, Ryan Timms. And we do branded content, documentaries, commercials, training videos, all sorts of things. Pretty much any kind of company that would need branded content, we make that kind of stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You did Dave Mira's, one of his first videos, right?
Yeah, so back in 2006, he started a bike company called Miraco. And that was right here in Greenville, North Carolina. For people that don't know, he was kind of local here in North Carolina.
Yeah, I heard that actually. That's cool.
Yeah, for a long time. So I had known him over the years just from being in the industry and going down there a lot as a younger kid, and then kind of, working in the industry and getting to be a filmer. I got the opportunity to film with him quite a bit over the years, and we kind of became buddies, which was really cool.
Incredible. Yeah.
And when he was starting his bike company, he was just thinking about videographers to use, and him and I was actually in Vegas at an event, and he was there, and we were just chatting one night, late night at the bar, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna start this company. I want to, do a bike company. Would you help me do some video stuff? And I said, of course. I'd be flattered to do that. So yeah, I got to work with him. He was just starting a bike company, sponsoring riders for the first time, and I got to help him create his first video to promote his brand. So that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you talked about the mid 90's. How old are you, Rob?
So I just turned 40.
Yeah, so we're about the same age. So.
Yep.
I was big into skateboarding in the 90's, and for the younger viewers, the 90's filming stuff was very difficult. Like, we didn't have the technology we have today, so you'd have to actually buy, a fairly expensive camera, and it was not. We were still using tape back then too.
For sure, yeah. The digital revolution has changed everything.
Oh, it's amazing, yeah.
Over the past 20 years. But yeah, like you said, I think my first camera, which wasn't even mine, it was my grandmother's camera that she let me borrow to take out to the jumps, and it was like one of those like over-the-shoulder grandma.
All the big ones.
It was like a VHS-C.
Yeah.
You guys remember the VHS?
Yeah,
it was like the smaller VHS tapes, and the thing was a piece of crap.
Yeah, the VHS-C and the high 8s.
Right.
I had a high 8 Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
The late 90's. Yeah.
I did the same. I think I had my grandmother's camera was a VHS-C, and then I think just before I graduated high school, she got me a camera, which was a high 8 camera.
Yeah.
Or yes, a high 8. I think was the first real camera I had that was, it was still not digital though. Those are still analog tapes in those things.
Yeah, still a little tape.
So that was pre-mini DV, because after that came like the mini DV stuff. And that was, I think like 1999, I think I got my first like mini DV, like
that's cool.
digital camera.
I don't miss any of that stuff.
No.
Yeah, man.
Terrible.
If anybody was around back then, you had to log the tapes. And if anybody ever did that, they know that it's very time consuming. And, if you get a glitch in the tape, your shot is ruined. So there's a lot that could go wrong. And it's another process in the post-production phase that is kind of eliminated now. Everything being files on a memory card, it's much easier to transfer to a computer and start on post right away.
I remember back in, it was probably like 96, I was maybe 16. one of my good friends, Eric, shout out to Eric, he was interested in becoming a filmmaker. We were both interested in that in that field, but he had a catalog with cameras in it, and we'd found a digital camera. It was like when they first started coming out with the really nice digital cameras, which, I mean, they're garbage today, but back then it was state of the art. I think it was about $4,000 or something, and we had talked about saving up and purchasing this camera and shooting some documentary stuff, and we never did it, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a tough time to get into filmmaking. Today it's easy. I mean, people can use their phones to get started now. Yeah,
it's getting easier and easier. Phones, and before phones were good enough, the DSLRs are good enough. Those have been huge the past 5 to 10 years. So it's a lot easier for kids to get into filmmaking now. There's a million YouTube tutorials that can teach you everything from start to finish about pre-production, production, post-production.
Yeah.
There's a lot of resources out there that can help you that weren't around back in the 90s when we were starting.